And the next phase is from here up, covered. The only parts of it that are my face are the tip of my nose here, and then underneath my mustache right there. You've changed.
At the same time, you don't want to totally lose the actor behind layers of silicone or rubber. You want to leave a good portion of them there and carefully design the look.
It takes 4 hours. So if I go in at 3 in the morning, then I'm ready to shoot at 7 or 8.
Oh, yeah.
It's stuck to your skin. These are medical grade materials they are using, so it really sticks.
We try to go as thin as possible, which allows for the maximum amount of movement.
And it gets heavy.
I would say at least 10 pounds of silicone, maybe 12. It's a lot.
With Peter's makeup, because there's so much mass to it, in the last 2-3 stages, every part of his head is covered. Got it? It's going to trap heat because silicone is a non-porous material. It's like wearing a rubber glove on your head.
Because if I get sweaty, the appliance starts to collapse in different ways.
The heat builds, and that's going to have a tendency to pull free.
So I have to stay cool. There's this device I put my hand into that football players use, and they turn it on, and all of the veins here and in your hand get iced down, basically, and cool down your blood. And they found that it's much more efficient than even sticking your hand in a bucket of water.
I've never felt better in my life.
Abin Sur's look was probably the hardest to translate. If you don't do it right, it has a tendency to look cartoony.
There was one maquette made for Abin Sur, which is behind me in the background. At that time, we really didn't know who was going to be cast to play Abin Sur.
It's sort of an external musculature that you're reading on him.
There are quite a few pieces. There's a neck appliance, there's a skull cap piece, and then there are forehead and facial pieces that he wears. And then all those get tied in with color. It went through several makeup tests. We had to make color samples, and those were photographed under different lighting conditions. And it did take quite a while before we did finally arrive at the right solutions.
Now turn up here again, Tim. Wham! And fist up, as it's like today.
As far as Abin Sur goes, the challenge with his skin tone is that we're taking a otherworldly character and an otherworldly skin tone and translating it into the real world.
To apply Tim's makeup, it took close to 4 hours because it was a little more meticulous.
It's quite a slimline kind of prosthetic makeup on me.
Tim was great. He was the first performer we got.
Putting up with the makeup is the biggest challenge. I did a film years and years ago, The Island of Dr. Moreau, so I got a lot of training and contending with the prosthetic makeup. But the funny thing is, once you've done one, you go, I swear I will never do that again. And here I am, doing it again.
If you translated Sinestro line for line from an illustration from the comic, it's going to look angular. It's going to take you out of the realm of reality.
Are you afraid, human?
Until we heard who was going to play Sinestro, did we know exactly where we were going to be headed with him.
Shall we?
We started sculpting the look of Sinestro on his life cast. The hair was something that always came up that was like, well, what are we going to do with his hair?
You're trying to strike a balance between someone that's got a lot of strength in his face but doesn't look too sinister.
And I will tolerate no weaklings.
The ears slightly changed shape and direction. There was just fine tweaking that went on literally from the beginning. I think there were 4 or 5 tests.
There is no way you can succeed.
With Mark, you had to kind of keep him sleek and keep the makeup as close to him as possible so that a lot of the character comes from Mark. It exudes from him.
Aliens from the planet Corrigar are magenta or red, so there's a number of passes of makeup that are made to give him that color.
We actually use a color on Sinestro, which is a tattoo color called French Quarter Fuchsia, which I think is very appropriate considering where we made the movie. When we do prosthetic makeups, we use an airbrush for maybe 75% of it. You don't want to use an airbrush for the entire process because then it's going to look airbrushed. But to create a natural skin tone or even an otherworldly skin tone, you're breaking up the skin or the prosthetic with multiple color passes. So when you get in close, it looks believable. It looks like there's things going on under the skin, a circulatory system.
When you see it on film, it looks like flesh, it looks organic.
I'm a Green Lantern. I fear nothing.
Mark came really well researched with everything. He knows exactly what Sinestro is all about, what he is, what he has been, and where he's going with it.